Good evening, everyone. Come on, guys. Fastest growing, hottest internet platform in the world. Bringing content to life. Surely we can do better than that. Good evening, everyone. It's great to be here. I'm Rajan. First of all, let me thank all of you for being here. And more importantly, let me thank all of you for making the dream come alive. As all of you know, there's really only three reasons why YouTube is what it is today, and through the rest of the evening you'll hear more about that. One, we have very large number of users around the world. Many of you hopefully are consumers who actually go to YouTube to see exciting content. But more importantly, the reason all these consumers go to YouTube is because many of you actually produce awesome content. As we heard, be it TV, be it sports, be it music, be it movies, be it educational content. So thank you for producing amazing content. And through the course of today, you'll hear about both what we're doing around the world as well as what we're doing in India, and you'll also get to see some super hot or some of the best content that we've produced on YouTube, either for YouTube or content that's been put on YouTube that's been extraordinarily successful. Obviously, the other reason we're able to do this and YouTube as a platform has thrived is because brands around the world are flocking to YouTube. And they're coming to YouTube at scale to help them build brands online. So I want to thank all the brands and many of you that actually work with brands for all the support you've provided YouTube. You know, I'm going to take a couple of minutes to talk about how YouTube is doing in India, and then through the course of the evening, you'll hear a lot more about each of these themes. Last year was a very special year for YouTube. We celebrated the 7th anniversary for YouTube. YouTube went live in 2005. And in the year that it went live, we had 8 million views a day. Today, YouTube has 4 billion views a day. You know, that's a staggering, staggering number. When YouTube was launched, all the users that YouTube had, let's say in the first couple of years, most of them came from the US and most of them accessed YouTube on a desktop computer. 7 years later, most of the views today come from outside of the US, and globally, 25% of the views are now coming from a mobile device, a smartphone or a tablet. So things have changed pretty dramatically. And I know the host for the evening mentioned Psy and Gangnam Style. Who would have ever imagined even 3 years ago that we could have a pop star from Korea go from not being known outside of Korea to being a global sensation with over 1 billion views in a matter of 4 months? Right? Today you can do that with the internet because the internet has 2.5 billion human beings on it, and 900 million of them are on YouTube. Right? So clearly, things have changed dramatically over the last 7 years. Specifically, if you think about the 3 aspects of the YouTube ecosystem that bring YouTube to life and help to scale, it's very interesting to see how each of those 3 aspects have changed. Consumers, content partners, and brands. If you take consumers, 900 million consumers on YouTube today. Right? So there's a reason why if you have very exciting content, you can put it out there, and if it's awesome and you're a bit lucky and you do the right sort of things, you can have hundreds of millions of consumers from around the world get access to that content. Consumers come to YouTube because of great content. In India, even when I joined about 2 years ago, we had less than 15 million Indians on the internet. As of December, there were 36 million Indians that came to YouTube from a desktop or a notebook. There was an additional at least 30%. So tens of millions of Indians who are coming to YouTube and accessing YouTube through a mobile device, a smartphone or a tablet. So even in India, where YouTube is really only 4 years old, because the localized version of YouTube in India was launched in 2008. We have almost over 50 million users, unique users who come to India every month. And as many of you know, especially those of you in brands who target young urban India, SECAB 15 to 44 is actually only about 55 million people. So very quickly here we'll have the most valuable demographic in India for most reasonably priced products and services already on YouTube. Now these consumers are accessing YouTube not just on desktops and notebooks, on mobile devices, smartphones, tablets, and in developed markets in other kinds of interesting things like connected TVs, and you'll hear more about that. Now these, now let me talk about these Indian consumers, right? North of 50 million, 36 million of them on desktops and notebooks. They're coming to YouTube because YouTube in India has awesome Indian content. A lot of it, what all of you have produced. 10,000 full-length Indian movies on YouTube today. 90% of the Bollywood music catalog is on YouTube today. 70% of all the regional music ever produced in the history of India is on YouTube today. You know, there was just a comparison to TV, and by the way, it's TV plus YouTube, we think is sort of the new future. The top 6 broadcasters are all on YouTube today. And there are a few people like me that actually don't have a TV. I don't have a TV at home. But fortunately, now I can watch TV. Because guess what? It's actually on YouTube. And finally, sports. Be it the Olympics, which was, you know, basically live streamed around the world through YouTube, or IPL, or sport, or any kind of sport. Just about every sport today is on YouTube. And then we've got, apart from all of this, a very large number of content creators, many of whom will either be here or will join us today, who are creating content, especially for online and especially for YouTube. So in terms of content, the content that we have on YouTube within India is simply awesome, and it's getting better day by day. And I want to thank all of you for the amazing work that you do to get this awesome content onto the internet and specifically onto YouTube. Finally, the third part of the ecosystem are really brands, right? If there was no monetization in this ecosystem, we wouldn't have this awesome content, and we wouldn't have 900 million consumers coming to YouTube. Brands are coming to YouTube and leveraging YouTube at scale around the world. Just about every large brand in the world today, especially in the markets where YouTube has achieved scale, is now on YouTube and is on YouTube at scale. And the reason they come to YouTube is understandable. You've got 900 million humans. I have to now say humans because the Internet of Things, you know, everything's getting connected to the internet. So when you mention a number, what is it? Is it people? Is it cars? It's humans, right? Who are actually coming to YouTube extensively. Every time an Indian consumer comes to YouTube in India, they spend 15 minutes. You go twice, you spend 30 minutes, and so on and so forth. So brands are coming to YouTube to target these large number of consumers who are in the internet, who not only come to YouTube to watch content similar to traditional media, but with YouTube, they're able to do a lot more. They engage, they interact, they share, they provide comments, they modify content, right? So they're able to target this audience, and what we're seeing in many markets and even in India is some part of this very large young audience is spending less and less time on traditional media. So to be able to reach this audience, it becomes very, very critical for brands to actually come to YouTube. And there are many exciting aspects about YouTube for brands, but the one that excites many of us a lot, and you hear about this throughout the day, is something called TrueView. TrueView is an awesome product because what it lets brands do is only pay for ads that consumers decide to see. So those of you that have been to YouTube lately would see it. Maybe on about 30 or 40% of the ads that you see a little button that says, skip this ad now. So guess what? Unlike when you're watching some media, where you have to sit there and watch lots and lots of ads, and you watch more ads at some point than you might content. In this case, you don't like an ad, you don't watch an ad. Research that we've done shows 70% of Indian consumers want to have the option to skip an ad. Who wouldn't, right? So clearly, a large number of consumers from an extraordinarily valuable demographic spending huge amounts of time on the medium, and now you've got very cool features like TrueView and others that helps an advertiser really make sure that they're targeting a consumer, right? So those are really the three components that have come together. You think YouTube, in many ways, already hit significant scale, 36 million users on desktop, and you add everything else, over 50 million. But in many ways, it's still starting, because India has 150 million internet users, and by 2015, we'll have over 300 million Indians on the internet. So the potential for YouTube as a platform globally is enormous. In India, is just absolutely staggering. We're very excited about the platform. We're very excited about the partnerships we have with all of you. And today, through the rest of the day, what you'll hear, both from several of our global leaders from our YouTube global teams who are here, about each of these elements of the ecosystem. We have two of our very important brands in the country, the brands that you know and love, who'll talk about what YouTube has done for them. And then also, throughout the course of the evening, you'll see live, not online, but live, some super exciting content creators who we're very excited about, who've broken records over and over again in terms of number of views, the kind of engagement that we've driven on the platform. Thanks again for coming, and hope you guys have a great evening.